2 years ago now, I made a video looking back at the previous 10 CHL players of the year and took a look at where they're at right now, and that video on that list was littered with players that are now superstars in the NHL. This video is long overdue, but today I finally have kind of the sequel to that video for you guys, where we're going to take a look back at the previous 10 CHL goalies of the year and talk about where those guys are at right now. I will warn you, this list will look a lot different from the CHL players of the year video. You'll probably still recognize some names, but you'll definitely hear some new ones as well. So we'll kick things off with the most recent winner of the award, the 2022 CHL Goalie of the Year, Dylan Garand, who spent this past season as a member of the Kamloops Blazers. Now this is a name I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with. Definitely a memorable calendar year for Dylan Garand, because not only did he win CHL Goaltender of the Year, posting a 34-9-1 record, a .925 save percentage, and a 2.16 goals against in the WHL, but he was also the starting goaltender for Team Canada in the World Juniors, where he went perfect with a 6-0 record, a .925 save percentage, and a sub-2 goals against average en route to Canada's gold medal win. The Rangers' 2020 4th round pick definitely put himself on the map this year, solidified himself as a top goaltending prospect. And as far as where's Dylan Garand now, well, he was actually just recently assigned to the Hartford Wolfpack from the New York Rangers. He attended Rangers camp, where he was obviously not expected to make the team. They have this guy named Shesterkin you may have heard of, but Dylan Garand is making the jump to playing pro this year, and he's going to be in contention for that starting gig down in Hartford. Skipping over 2021, because they didn't give out the CHL Goalie of the Year award, or any awards for that matter, due to the fact that the season was so short. The winner from 2020 though, Dustin Wolf, former 7th round pick by the Calgary Flames, has spent his junior career with the Everett Silvertips, and this is a guy whose junior career, pretty much the entirety of it, has been video game like. The numbers Dustin Wolf has put up are insane. Like in 2020, for example, the year in which he won CHL Goaltender of the Year, he finished the season with a 34-10-2 record, a .935 save percentage, and a 1.88 goals against average. And if the CHL did give out the Goaltender of the Year award in 2021, Dustin Wolf likely would have went back-to-back, as he finished that season 18-3 with a .940 save percentage. Dustin Wolf would then turn pro for the 2021-22 season, where he won the starting gig for the Stockton Heat in the American Hockey League, and he did not disappoint at that level, finishing last season with a 33-9-4 record, a .924 save percentage, and a 2.35 goals against average. Some pretty incredible numbers, right? Especially for a rookie goaltender playing his first professional season, and clearly the AHL was impressed, because Dustin Wolf was named American Hockey League Goaltender of the Year this past season. He was also named to the All-Rookie First Team, obviously, and it should be mentioned that he has looked fantastic so far in the preseason for the Calgary Flames, as he's appeared in 2 games, and across those 2 appearances has allowed just 2 goals on 37 shots. It certainly appears as though Dustin Wolf is the real deal. Now that being said, Calgary is going to be patient with him. It doesn't look like he's going to start in the NHL this season, as Dan Vladar is most likely going to be the backup to Jacob Markstrom, but rest assured, when Jacob Markstrom is no longer a viable option for the Calgary Flames, that starting goaltending position is definitely going to be in good hands. Moving on now to the winner of the award in 2019, we have Ian Scott, a 4th round pick by the Toronto Maple Leafs in 2017, spent the entirety of his junior career with the Prince Albert Raiders, and finished the 18-19 season with a record of 38-8-2, a .932 save percentage, and a 1.83 goals against average. As you would expect, the CHL Goalie of the Year put up unbelievable regular season numbers, but he was also a beast in the playoffs, as Prince Albert actually won the WHL in 2019, and Ian Scott was named playoffs MVP. Now, as far as where's Ian Scott now, well, things kind of took a hard turn here from where we were when we were talking about Dustin Wolf and Dylan Garand, who, like I said, are 2 top goaltending prospects in the NHL. In the case of Ian Scott, he was really never given a fair shot, not by an organization or a GM or anything like that, but by his own body. Scott would miss the entirety of the 2019-20 season after undergoing hip surgery. He only got into 6 games in the COVID-19 shortened 2020-2021 season between the AHL and the ECHL, and then this past season he was once again kept off the ice by injuries, as he got into all but 1 period of an ECHL game with the Newfoundland Growlers. And after the Leafs elected to not give him a qualifying offer, Ian Scott on Instagram actually announced his retirement from playing hockey in July. Super unfortunate. Hip surgery is an incredibly difficult injury to come back from for any hockey player. I can't imagine what it was like for a goaltender trying to start off his professional career. So much of a goaltender's game is lateral movement, strong push-offs, side to side, quickly dropping to your knees and jumping back up. You really get a feel for the guy who was once viewed as the future of the net in Toronto, but he's definitely somebody who should be incredibly proud of what he accomplished at the junior level. Moving on now to the winner of the award in 2018, this is definitely a name all of you are familiar with, Hart, who spent his junior career with the Everett Silvertips and is obviously now the starting goaltender for the Philadelphia Flyers. His 2017-18 season in the WHL, you look at the numbers he put up, and it's the kind of numbers where you're saying to yourself, why was he even playing at that level? Like, that's unfair. Hart finished the season with a 31-6-3 record, a 1.60 goals against, and a .947 save percentage. Like I said, absolutely unfair. It's pretty clear as to why Philadelphia kind of put him up to the NHL so quickly, because his junior career all in all was just unbelievable. He was a world junior champion, a 2-time CHL goalie of the year. We'll talk about that other year in a little bit. He was also named WHL player of the year, and he won the WHL goalie of the year award 3 different times. An absolutely historic junior career. As we all know, his pro career so far has been a little bit up and down. He started off strong, real good rookie season with the Philadelphia Flyers in 18-19, followed that up with another strong season in his sophomore year, especially in the playoffs that year in the bubble. He was a monster. But then the past couple seasons have been incredibly underwhelming. 2020-21 especially, he was probably the worst starter in the league, but the Flyers as a team in front of him have been really bad during that period. They're most likely going to continue to be bad. The defense is awful in front of him, so that definitely doesn't make things easier on Hart, but if you look at his goals saved above expected in each of the past 2 seasons to kind of isolate his performance, it doesn't really do him any favors either. Now that being said, I'm still incredibly confident that he's going to bounce back. He's going to be the goaltender of the now and the future for the Philadelphia Flyers. He's proven that he can be fantastic at the NHL level. It's just a matter of finding that consistency. He's still really young, especially for a goaltender. Next up, we have the 2017 winner of CHL Goaltender of the Year. We have Michael McNiven, who spent his junior career with the Owen Sound Attack and is actually the first goaltender we've talked about so far who went undrafted in his draft year. Now, despite going undrafted in 2015, he would sign a 3-year entry-level deal with the Montreal Canadiens as a free agent, but we'll get to his pro career after we talk about his award-winning season. Now, Michael McNiven didn't put up otherworldly numbers like Hart did, who we just talked about had damn near a .950 save percentage in that 17-18 season. The reason that I feel like Michael McNiven won CHL Goaltender of the Year in 16-17 is because of the insane workload that he had. Owen Sound won 49 games that year, and Michael McNiven accounted for 41 of those 49 wins. He played 54 total games that season. The goaltender who played the second most games for Owen Sound that season was Emmanuel Vela, who played 8. McNiven was a workhorse. He won a ton of games and still finished that season with a .915 save percentage. This would prove to be McNiven's final year playing junior. He would then turn pro within the Montreal Canadiens organization. Like I said, they signed him as an undrafted free agent, and McNiven's pro career up until this point has been kind of all over the place, up and down between the American Hockey League and the ECHL, has got into a good chunk of games for the Laval Rocket over the years, has played for a total of 4 different ECHL teams as well, did actually make his NHL debut this past season, relieving Caden Primo in the 3rd period of a blowout loss. Unfortunately, McNiven kind of got lit up as well. The Montreal Canadiens would then trade Michael McNiven to the Calgary Flames for future considerations, and before he even got into any action with the Calgary Flames organization, he was then also traded again for future considerations to the Ottawa Senators, where McNiven would end up playing 2 games this past season for the Belleville Senators, and now McNiven is currently a free agent without a contract. Next up, we have the 2016 winner of CHL Goalie of the Year. Won't spend too much time on this one because it's Hart again. Like I said, he won 2 of these throughout his junior career, this being the first of 2, and while he didn't put up the godly numbers in this season like he did when he won his second CHL Goalie of the Year award, the workload was insane. Similar to what I said about Michael McNiven, Hart carried the Everett Silvertips on his back that season. They weren't a very good team. Hart played a total of 63 games that season and accounted for 35 of the Silvertips' 38 wins. Had a .918 save percentage and a 2.14 goals against average. The backup goaltender for the Silvertips that year was 3-3-4 with an .883 save percentage. Like I said, Hart carried that team on his back. Moving on now to the 2015 winner of CHL Goaltender of the Year, we have Philippe Desrosiers, who was a 2nd round pick by the Dallas Stars, 54th overall back in 2013. Desrosiers is actually the only goaltender in this video we're going to talk about who won the award while playing in the QMJHL. The CHL Goalie of the Year award has spent a lot of time in the WHL over the past decade, and he also had the lowest save percentage in his award-winning season of all the goaltenders we're going to talk about, finishing that 2014-15 season with Rimouski at just a .901 save percentage. Now, that that being said, Rimouski was a fantastic team, finishing first place in the QMJHL, and Desrosiers had a fantastic record, 29-9-3. He was their starter. However, that award-winning season statistically wasn't even his best season in the QMJHL, so a bit of an outlier on this list. Up until this point, Desrosiers has yet to make his NHL debut, but has had a long professional career up and down between the American Hockey League and the East Coast Hockey League. Spent 4 seasons in the Dallas organization, the team that drafted him. They didn't give him a qualifying offer in 2019. He then signed a 1-year deal with the Florida Panthers. He impressed Florida enough at the AHL level to earn a 1-year contract extension, and then in the 56-game shortened 2020-21 season, when taxi squads were a thing, he actually spent the majority of that year on Florida's taxi squad, but was never put into a game. He would then sign a 1-year 2-way deal with the Winnipeg Jets, spent the majority of this past season with Winnipeg's ECHL affiliate, and then this offseason opted to sign a 1-year deal with the Laval Rocket, where he's most likely going to be competing for the starting gig there. So definitely a little bit of a journeyman. Unlikely at this point that he sees any NHL action, but hey, still a long pro career that is still going, so he must be doing something right. Moving on now to 2014, the CHL Goalie of the Year was Jordan Cooke, who spent his junior career with the Kelowna Rockets. In the season in which he won CHL Goaltender of the Year, he was obviously a beast. 39-7-4 record, .922 save percentage, and a 2.28 goals against average. Now it should be mentioned that Kelowna was stupid good that season. They were 57-11-4, and the backup to Jordan Cooke that season was also 18-4 with a .917. So although Jordan Cooke definitely carried his weight, put up really solid numbers, and had a great year, he probably had the easiest starting gig in the entire CHL that year. Now we get to the fun part. What happened to Jordan Cooke after his junior career? Because he had a really interesting journey. He was undrafted, has never signed a deal with an NHL team. Following his award-winning season, he would go play for the University of Saskatchewan in Canada from 2014 up until 2018, would then turn pro for the 2018-19 season, but not in North America and not really in any big European league that you'd probably be familiar with. His first professional season was in France. He was the starting goaltender for Gap HC, where he had 18 wins in 35 appearances. And then the following 2 seasons, he would play in a league that I'm actually just learning about doing my research for this video, called the Erste Liga. Hopefully I'm saying that properly, but it is a league for clubs based out of Hungary and Romania. Like I said, pretty interesting hockey career after junior, but he absolutely dominated over there. 29 games in his first season, had a .947 save percentage, followed that up with a .934 in 22 games. This past season, he didn't play anywhere that I could find at least, but this upcoming season, he is on the roster for the Devon Barons in the North Central Hockey League based out of Canada, so he has came back over to North America. Jordan Cooke is definitely a goaltender that I would call a journeyman, just in a different sense of the word. Not that he's played for, a bunch of different NHL teams or AHL teams, or just been in a bunch of different organizations, but he's been all over the world. Again, playing in France and then in a league based out of Hungary and Romania. Continuing on now, we have the 2013 CHL Goaltender of the Year, Patrick Bartisak, who won the award playing with the Red Deer Rebels, who he spent his entire junior career with. Had a monster 2013 season, finishing 33-14-5 with a .935 save percentage and a 2.26 goals against in 55 games. Was relied on heavily by the Red Deer Rebels as their backup goaltender that season. Bolton Pouliot in 20 games was just 5-10-2 with a .902 save percentage. After winning CHL Goaltender of the Year that summer, Patrick Bartisak was selected in the 5th round, 146th overall by the Los Angeles Kings in the 2013 NHL entry draft. He played one more season in the WHL following that award-winning year, and then would turn pro in the Kings organization and had a cup of tea in the American Hockey League with the Manchester Monarchs. Now his professional career in North America, at least, was very short-lived. Things do get a little bit dark here. After playing just 2 games in the ECHL in the 2015-16 season, Patrick Bartisak would be suspended without pay by the Los Angeles Kings organization after he was arrested on a second-degree assault charge in a domestic violence case against his then-girlfriend in November of 2015. This would effectively end his professional career in North America, and rightfully so. He would then return home to play professionally in the Czech Republic from 2015 to 2020, and from 2020 up until now, he's played a couple of games in Sweden, had a cup of tea in the KHL as well, and now plays in the Liga in Finland. And now for the final goalie we'll talk about in today's video, the 2012 CHL Goaltender of the Year, a name I'm sure a good amount of you are familiar with, Michael Hauser. He's a fan favorite for sure, had an unbelievable season in 2012 with the London Knights, 46-15-1, a .925 save percentage. He accounted for 46 of London's 49 wins that season. He was their guy. He started 98% of the games and was fantastic. He was was definitely deserving of the Goaltender of the Year award. And then we get to his pro career, which is long. It's still going on. I'll use this term again. Michael Houser is a journeyman for sure. He was undrafted, so after his award-winning season, he would attend the Florida Panthers training camp, earn himself a 3-year entry-level deal, kicking off his professional career in North America. And listen, we'd be here all day if I went through his stats year by year, every team he played for. He was always up and down between the ECHL and the AHL, attended various different NHL teams' training camps, would sign with AHL teams. He was always good enough to keep playing, to keep getting a new job. And then on March 19th of 2021, Michael Houser would finally get his break as the Buffalo Sabres signed Michael Houser to a 1-year contract for the remainder of the season, spent the majority of that year on the team's taxi squad, and would finally get an opportunity to make his NHL debut on May 3rd, and he stopped 34 shots, won the game 4-2, and it was such a feel-good story. He worked so hard in the minors to finally get to that moment, and when he got there, he made the best of it. And he's really made the best of every opportunity he's got to play at the NHL level. He played 2 games with the Sabres this past season and was 2-0 in those games with a .948 save percentage. He's a guy that's so easy to root for, living proof that if you work hard enough, stay resilient, you will eventually get an opportunity, and Michael Houser did. So that is going to wrap up today's video going over the previous 10 CHL goaltenders of the year. I had a ton of fun doing this. I know it was a longer video and there's a lot of names in here you've never heard of, but for me that's part of the fun when doing stuff like this, learning new things. I definitely did when doing research and editing this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed. A lot of time and effort went into this one, so if you could, please be sure to drop a like on the video if you did enjoy, and if you want to see more things like this in the future, and most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you all soon.